Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Straight to the top story this evening. Now, the government tabled a bill to amend the landmark Right to Information Act in the Rajya Sabha today. The government, among others, has proposed changes to ranks, salaries and the tenure of the Chief Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners. However, the government's plan has come under fire from the opposition and activists who claim that the move will dilute the act. Rituparna Bhuyan joins us now. Ritu, the government is in minority in the upper house.
Well, that is right. The amendments can be classified into two points. Firstly, salaries will be rationalized for both Chief Information Commissioners and Information and some Commissioners of states and centre. And secondly, the 5-year tenure for Chief Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners will be done away with, and instead the central government will prescribe the tenure of these officials. Now, why has it been done? According to the statement of objects and reasons of the amendments, the current dispensation, as per the current dispensation, the Chief Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners are ranked equivalent to the Chief Election Commissioners and the Election Commissioners, and hence, according to the government, since the office of the Chief Election Commissioner is a constitutional elected body, and hence the ranking as well as salaries of the RTI related officials, they need to be rationalized, and hence these amendments have been tabled in Rajya Sabha. It remains to be seen if they'll be able to steer these amendments in Rajya Sabha, because as you said, the ruling party does not have numbers there, and opposition parties have been opposing any change to the RTI Act.
All right, Rituparna, thank you so much for bringing us those details. In fact, we are now joined by Anjali Bharadwaj, who is the co-convener of the National Campaign for People's Right to Information, to help us understand this better. Anjali, you just heard my colleague there outline what has happened today in Parliament. We finally have the details of the amendments to the RTI Act. Now, the salary, the allowance and terms of the Central Information Commissioner and Information Commissioners will be prescribed by the central government. That is the major change in the Act. Now, can you explain to us why you believe that this move will dilute the Act?
Yes. See, the Right to Information Act provides for independent information commissions. And if a body be independent and function independently of the government, the tenure and the salaries of functionaries of that body must not be decided by the government. So the law as it stands today states that there is a fixed tenure of commissioners. It's 5 years, subject to their retirement age of 65 years. And it also defines the salaries. It links it to the salaries of election commissioners and the Chief Election Commissioner, which in turn is the same as that of a Supreme Court judge. Now, what the government is doing is by saying that the central government will prescribe the tenure and the salaries of information commissioners, they are in effect directly attacking the independence and autonomy of information commissions. So you can imagine that if the government were to say that each time there will be a commissioner appointed, they'll be appointed for a 1-year term and it can be renewed. So what will happen is that when a commissioner is passing an order, they would be very worried when giving an inconvenient order to the government, because they would think that their term might not be renewed. So you see, this is one putting pressure and compromising their independence. Similarly, the salary, if it is decided by the central government, all these things become ways of compromising the independence of commissions and the Information Commission, and it will almost work like a government department. So what we feel is that by doing this, the government is actually compromising the independence Information Commission and completely diluting people's right to information. Because under the law, if people don't get information, they go to the commission and they ask for justice, and the Information Commissions are the final adjudicators. So the demand, therefore, by citizens across the country has been that the government should not bring in these amendments. There is absolutely no need for these amendments. The government is saying that we are doing this because these are statutory bodies and the Election Commission is a constitutional body. It's a bogus argument. the salaries are regularly fixed like this in different laws, where they're pegged at the level of a constitutional body, even if it's a statutory body that they're talking about. So this is not a good argument that the government is putting forth. In fact, the government is not doing its own job as far as implementation of the RTI law is concerned. They are not appointing information commissioners. So at the moment in the Central Information Commission, out of 11 posts, 4 posts are lying vacant. The government hasn't made appointments, and 4 more posts are going to become in the coming few months. So the government, people have had to approach the courts to get the government to do this. So the government, instead of actually doing its obligation under the law, is trying to change it, to amend it, to weaken and dilute the law.
So you're saying that this move will compromise the independence of the body, and there is no need for the government to do this. In fact, the opposition parties have promised to fight against these amendments. Do you expect them to follow through on this?
We certainly hope that they do. Yesterday, there was a large public meeting organized where people from more than 10 states were in Delhi to protest against these amendments, because people really care about the right to information law. And at the Janmanch, there were at least 5 political parties, opposition parties, which assembled, including the Congress, the left parties, the TMC, and so on. And they promised people publicly that their parties will oppose these amendments. So we are hoping very much, and people will also be watching the parliament closely to see, and we hope that they will follow through on their commitment.
All right, Anjali. So you are hoping that the opposition will follow through on their promise to oppose this move. Thank you so much for joining us and bringing us those details.